Hello, fellow fantasy sports fans. Welcome to MFSN, the Hub's fantasy football strategy show, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm Dr. Dan Ratner, and I'm here as always with Casey, Vlad to the Bone Scheinvold, and Ross the Boss.
Hey, everybody, Ross the Boss coming live from Los Angeles, California, Lipstick City. And yes, it's not hot today. It's cloudy. It's in the, I'd say 81, 82 degrees here.
Ooh,
but
that sounds nice.
I'm excited. Football season starts officially next week. So this week's kind of like a bye week. So we can kind of look at our fantasy team, see what we want to do. And there's a lot of drafts coming up. So there you go.
Yes, and we did our draft on Sunday night. Hopefully many of you tuned in. I felt great about it. And then, of course, when you look at it later, you're like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Whoa.
So, I mean, look, my draft was still good, but I did draft Rashee Rice and Jordan Addison. And, I do this every year.
Yeah, but look, we're going to talk about people today who you can pick up that will that will help you fill that gap, because you're right. The Rashee Rice suspension is huge. They agreed to 6 games from what's been reported, but it's still the best case scenario for Rashee Rice owners who are looking at the fantasy year this year, because it's the first 6 games of the year. It was supposed to be announced on September 30th, which meant he would have already missed several games, and then he may have played in those, but the 6 games could have then bled into the playoff time. And so the first 6 games are tough, but they're, these games, each week, the games magnify in importance in terms of wins and losses. So it went about as well as it could have, I think. So I wouldn't fret.
I suppose that's true. But, I just have a tendency to draft players at a discounted value sometimes because of this. And if I do it too much, I lose the chance to get out in front. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because, winning early is a big deal. It gets you so much more leverage. If you're 4-2 after those first 6 games, and then Rashee Rice is coming back, you're in a great spot. But him being out that long and Jordan Addison being out for 4 games as well, it's going to make it hard for me to be 4-2 going into that, I would guess. Now, what we're going to do is look for early year help. So who are some of the players, guys, that you think are going to make a big difference just in the first 4 weeks? Well, we really want to get out in front of this.
The easiest ones for me are, he was just traded to the Vikings, Adam Thielen, and that's because he's familiar with the offense. He works out every summer with J.J. McCarthy, and so they're familiar with one another. And he, I think, can be that immediate plug-in for those Jordan Addison owners. I just think that's an easy 1-for-1, because then when Addison comes back, either he'll take those targets that you had been getting from Adam Thielen, and Adam Thielen will disappear, but you won't care as much, right?
And it'll be a free roster spot then. So
it's a free roster spot.
Right,
so
but Adam Thielen's one of these guys he always figures a way to get the ball. He really does. I know they have Justin Jefferson. I know Addison will be back after 4 games. I know all that, and they have a good, they have T.J. Hockenson as their tight end. But Adam, some reason the quarterbacks like him and they throw him the ball and he catches it. And, he's just he's like a guy that just won't go away.
And I was in what I was reading earlier is just last season, out of 180 wide receivers who I think had at least 200 yards receiving, I forget what the number was, he ranked 27th in separation ability. So even though he's 35 or whatever, he runs such precise routes that he's still able to get separation in the top, 15th percentile or something like that. That's pretty impressive. And so that bodes well, because Jefferson is the great, right? But those intermediate routes, those out routes, those possession routes, there's not much better than Adam Thielen.
I think it's a great call for those first 4 weeks. It is true. I don't know how much value he'll provide after that, but this is a guy who just knows where to be in space. You guys are both making reference to it, but to me, that's the key to Thielen, is he just knows where he is on the field all the time, and he knows where to be, Yeah. And I think that's part of how he gets the separation. There's certain players that are like that. So how about with Rashee Rice on the Chiefs? Who are you looking to replace him with?
For me, the late round dart throw there is Jalen Royals, the rookie. They got him in the 4th round, and from everything you've read, he's had an incredibly impressive preseason. He's actually, in the last game, he was running the Rice routes. He was playing that position. Hollywood Brown is one of the other receivers. He's always hurt too. So, I mean, Royals could be the guy who you're not going to reproduce Rashee Rice, because when he's healthy, he's a top 15, top 20 wide receiver. But it's a guy who is just, he's got great hands, great route running, plays with explosive speed, and the Chiefs seem to be a big fan of him. So that's another guy I would keep an eye on there.
I also wondering, when is Hollywood Brown? I saw a Q next to his name this morning. When is any news? Like, is he playing in game week 1, or is he out?
So I'm assuming he's supposed to play.
I mean, I think Hollywood Brown's going to have I predict Hollywood Brown's going to be their number 1 receiver this year. How about those? How about that bold prediction? Aha!
Well, listen, Rashee Rice is probably not going to be their number 1 receiver just because he's going to miss 6 games. But so you're really saying
7 or 8 games of the season, and that's when you want him to be a number 1
as the Kansas City receiver this year.
Well, if you're choosing between the two, I like the Royals pick as somebody to watch, just as Casey said. But unlike Thielen, I just don't. Yeah, but it would be so hard to trust plugging him in right away.
Listen, they never throw to rookie receivers in Kansas City. It's like a golden rule. The only time it broke was again when Hill was on the team. Every year when these receivers come to Kansas City, this guy's going to be great, and he stinks. So let's stop fooling ourselves with the Royal. Danny Royal's not going to do anything in fantasy football. He won't be waived. He won't be drafted. He'll just sit there on the wire the whole season. And we'll say, and instead of Ellie De La Cruz, we'll talk about Royal and how that was Casey's big pick this year. I can't wait.
We'll see. Wow, big time smack talk from Ross the Boss.
Whatever he wants.
All right, now listen, it doesn't have to be a fill-in from that team. So, like, I wanted to ask you guys about Nick Chubb. My teams are often named after Nick Chubb. Is he going to be useful at the beginning of the year?
Casey, you can take this one.
I am not going anywhere near the Houston Texans backfield if I can avoid it. I mean, Joe Mixon today, was it today or yesterday? Did you hear what the GM said? They put him on. He's going to definitely miss definitely miss the first 4 weeks. And then they're going to reevaluate him. And when asked about whether he thinks he'll be back this season, his response was something to the effect of, well, we'll just have to take it day by day. Like, there was no hopeful optimism that they usually put out there. Nick Chubb is one of the greats when he was healthy. He suffered that catastrophic knee injury.
Horrible.
It's not a great offensive line in Houston.
But don't you think he's going to provide just volume? I
don't know. I could see Dameon Pierce. They have, what is his name? Woody Marks, the late round dart throw people are talking about a lot because he's been good this preseason. He was Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt before Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt came onto the scene in terms of some of the publicity he was getting. I just think it's a mess. I think this is a year to own, Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Nico Collins. Like, I just think they're going to throw the ball.
Well, they are going to have to run the ball. Somebody's going to have to get the handoffs.
Yeah, but I think Dameon Pierce could end up being the volume guy if Mixon doesn't come back.
I think you're right. I think Pierce, unless Chubb's healthy, I mean, if Chubb is 60% as good as he was in Cleveland, and he can run like that in Houston, I think he'll be fine. It just depends on his health, like you said.
I'm betting on him. I'm betting on him to be useful.
60%.
I mean, if I'm picking,
I would take a Nick Chubb if he's 60%. If he's 60%,
sure.
I would take him.
Yep.
I guess if I'm looking for a running back late in this draft, I mean, the one I think that appeals to me the most is Ollie Gordon down in Miami.
I love Ollie Gordon.
He's a big bodied 6 foot 218 or something like that. Devon Achane is already dealing with a soft tissue injury, and it seems a muscle injury. He does every year, misses, that's going to be an issue. I think Ollie Gordon is going to be brought. He's already passed Jalen Wright from what people are reporting in the depth chart. I just think he could be one of those players who is, just productive, and Miami needs all the help they can get.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of value where you can get him at the back end of a draft, or maybe even off of waivers, depending on your your league, at least at the moment. And the guy could, I'm not saying this will happen, but he could end up with 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. I mean, like, the role is potentially there for him. So I like that pick a lot. How about the Washington running back situation? I know we've talked about it.
It's two guys. It's Krosky, Merritt. He's the one guy that everybody's drafting. But I like Chris Rodriguez. That's my guy. I hate where the other guy, Merritt, where he went to college. I hate that place. So I would never draft him. So
where did he go? I don't remember.
He went to this place called University of Arizona.
That's what I thought.
He's a Sun Devil.
He's not a Sun Devil. He's a Wildcat.
I actually think the guy to own there is Austin Eckler, because he's the pass catching back and he's the most efficient, as weird as this sounds, goal line back they have. Brian Robinson was not effective.
It does sound weird,
Eckler,
but I think you're right.
Eckler was like at 80% range in terms of efficiency from inside the 3-yard line. Like, he knows how to find the end zone. He knows how to get into space and exploit it. I just think Eckler, I think that offense for the first few weeks, at least, is going to run through Eckler and through Deebo Samuel. I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels is amazing for fantasy purposes, but those quick little swing passes and screens, that's what those two excel at. And until Terry McLaurin is healthy, they're not going to have or not healthy until he's up to speed. I don't know how much of a deep passing game.
He signed last week, right? He's back. He's back on.
He signed last week. Yeah.
So he's back in camp.
I mean, I'm not worried about Terry McLaurin at all. I think he's going to be the focal point of the offense more than anything. Debo's in a new system, but this is an interesting point. I think that, a lot of teams, when they see a potential running back by committee, they're like, I'm staying away from that. But sometimes that's an opportunity at the beginning of the season, because running back by committee doesn't mean it's necessarily going to stay that way. Like, we don't know who's going to emerge, and you want to have the guy who emerges there. If I had a bunch of roster spots, I'd love to own 2 of the Washington running backs, maybe even 3, depending on how, deep your league is or how badly you feel like the rest of your picks went. Go ahead and figure it out. It reminds me of this is a fantasy baseball reference, but in my early days in fantasy baseball, when you were trying to figure out who was the closer, I'd sometimes pick up 2 different relievers when you just didn't know who was going to emerge, and just wait. It's just, you're not waiting that long.
Now that's dependent on having a deep bench in fantasy football, because in baseball you have 162 games to try to figure out who's going to be the closer.
That's true. It helps, a lot
and so
more.
Unless you have IR spots, which not all leagues have, or NA spots, and then a deep bench, it becomes tougher.
But listen, then again, I'm just to play devil's advocate. Even on a football team where it's week to week, if you hold those guys for 2 weeks, you're probably going to figure out who it is. Who's the guy?
Now, but it's just harder to be able to hold them.
There's more opportunity cost to it. Yeah. We know that. All right, we've got a prediction in that arena. Ja'Cory Krosky will get 250 plus touches.
Call him Bill Merritt. That's what he wants to be known as. I was listening to this one podcast, and he did. He said he wants to be called Bill Merritt.
He wants him. His name is Bill.
Bill, but they were using almost like Chuck Norris type of legend when applying things like Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt makes onions cry, like that sort of stuff was what they keep coming up with. But so like I said, I'm not a huge I think Krosky Merritt has a lot of publicity right now. I'm not betting on him. I don't know if I bet he gets that many touches, but because
how is he out of the backfield?
Good. What do you mean?
Listen, he played in college football. He wasn't like a great player. I mean, he really wasn't. I'm not saying that because he went to a bad school. I'm saying that because he wasn't like he wasn't Big 12, all Big 12. I mean, he wasn't any of that. I mean, Cam Stadaboo of Arizona State was the star of that conference. Merritt was like an afterthought. I mean, I don't know when he was drafted, but obviously he showed a lot of promise at camp, and that's where he got the job.
Yeah. And he's built almost like Brian Robinson, and so it was not Bijan, Brian Robinson. So it was easy for them to say, "Oh, wait, you're doing what Brian Robinson is doing for $7 million less."
There you go.
Let's do that. But Brian Robinson didn't catch a lot of passes, as I recall. I mean,
neither will he, because
right.
that's what
I'm asking. So when you say 250 plus touches to a non-pass catching running back, that's expecting a lot.
Chris Rodriguez is 225 pounds. He's a big dude.
Yeah, they're both big dudes, and Chris Rodriguez was really effective last year.
I think Chris will be the goal line guy, and in Washington, the quarterback Jaden loves to run it in anyway. I mean, it's like, I don't know how effective the running back's going to be in Washington in fantasy purposes.
That's
why I want
question. Yeah,
it's nothing to do with it. I'd rather draft like Benson in Arizona or some backup running backs before.
Okay, but here's the thing: doesn't it depend on your need? I mean, like Benson, I think is going to be a better. I think he's going to have more rushing yards than Connor, is my guess this year.
Really?
Yes, because I think Connor's going to get injured.
Oh,
well, yeah, but you can't.
But also, Benson's going to be coming along anyway, so I think it's a decent bet. I mean,
do you guys think of Benson, the TV show, when you talk about
Robert Guillaume, of course?
Yes,
Robert Guillaume.
Robert Guillaume is going to get 0 carries. We know
0 carries, but I mean, don't you always think when you see his name, everything in Benson, the TV show? I always do.
I do.
Don't, but I will now.
Oh, I always think of
I
that.
always do. I love Benson.
And then Ross, my next thought is of Krause, who was another character on Benson. Maybe you don't even remember.
That's a great memory. I forgot about Krause.
There you
impressed.
go.
I'm impressed.
I'm just name dropping here.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, let's do a little bit of more of a deep dive on quarterbacks. Like, of course, in single quarterback leagues, you're not worried about these guys.
No, waiver wire, you can pick up anybody.
But there's a lot of super flex leagues out there.
Yep.
And the question is, like, who is a gem that may come off the wire? And often it's like a rookie quarterback.
Well, yeah, I was going to name 2 rookies.
Okay,
name them. Let's see if you got my 2. Go.
Well, Jackson Dart, obviously, of the Giants. Okay. I mean, Russell Wilson's the number 1, but nobody expects him to finish the season. And Dart has been really impressive in this preseason with his athleticism and his kind of fire and decision making. Now, it's not going to be as easy in the regular season, but this is a guy who can use his legs, which always increases your fantasy value. So he's one. And the other guy is probably a little bit deeper, is Jalen Milroe. If I'm going to look for, he's the best pure running quarterback maybe in the league already.
What team? I don't even know what team he's on. What team?
He went to Seattle, so he's behind Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And I could see them getting crafty and designing some plays for him even early on in the season, where it's a read option. The guy, look, he's a great deep ball passer. If you watched him at Alabama, his deep ball passing was awesome. He didn't have very good touch on the intermediate routes and the short routes, so that's what's got to develop. But I mean, what did he have? 14 rushing touchdowns or something like that last year?
He got hurt. I remember he got hurt. I picked him to win the Heisman last year, like beginning of the year.
Well, Alabama stunk last year. That didn't help. So,
I didn't win.
Those, if you're looking for waiver wire pickups at quarterback who could kind of shock the world, those would be the 2 I'd be looking at.
I mean, I think Penix is going to have a big year.
We know that. Yep.
Sure.
And with Cam Ward in Tennessee, he's been showing a lot of promise. I feel he's going to be like 3,500, maybe 4,000 yards passing. I think he's going to have a great year. I really do.
Yeah, I could see that too. I didn't consider him that much of a sleeper because he was the number 1 overall pick.
I know, but he's a rookie and he's unproven, and
But I mean, Jackson Dart didn't go that far after
24. I think he was 23, 24. Yeah.
I mean, the difference is probably
the difference is Jackson Dart's not starting the season.
Right, exactly. I do think he'll end up being the starter, I would guess. Well, what's your guess, Casey? You're a Giants fan.
Yeah, you're a Giants expert.
I don't know their schedule, but hold on, let me bring it up here.
So if they have an early bye week, it's going to be
that's what I'm assuming it'll be somewhere. Let's see, who do I have?
While you're doing that, I want to ask you guys: is Spencer Rattler worth rostering in a superflex league?
No.
Okay, Ross?
I have him in our Dynasty League, so I'm going to say yes.
I think he is worth
I want Spencer to have a big year, and I want him to be valuable, so I can trade him to this guy that's a big Saints fan in our league. So
where is Atwater?
I don't want to say his name.
You didn't have to. I did for you.
You say his name 3 times, he shows up. So I'm just letting you know. But I'm rooting for Rattler. I'm happy he got the job in New Orleans. But I think
here's
New
the
Orleans
thing.
will be lucky. I think they'll be lucky to win 5 games this year. I think they'll be lucky.
But that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to have no value. And like in a dynasty league, having any starting quarterback is valuable. Like that's valuable.
Yeah.
In a super flex redraft league, Rattler, he could be on some wires, some not.
If a redraft league,
you're not likely to start Spencer Rattler, even if he's playing.
The only way he can be like rostered is if game 1 he has 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and every bozo in the country is going to try to pick him up, obviously.
Right. All right, let's talk tight end a little bit, guys. If you need some tight end help at the beginning of the season, who's a guy that's out there on a lot of wires that you think shouldn't be or is going to provide a decent amount of value?
Okay.
Let's do the obvious one first, Casey.
No, you tell. I don't know if mine's obvious.
I really like, because again, we talked about Dallas and how much they'll be throwing the ball this year because their running game is minimal. I like Jake Ferguson for Dallas. He's available in a lot of leagues, especially like 10-team leagues. That you have one tight end, you don't carry 2. If you carry 2 tight ends, you're an idiot. I'm just letting you guys know. In a 10-team league, that's what I'm saying. But
yeah, I mean, unless you have 2 great ones and you're planning to trade them.
And we say it every year, but I just got to say it because Casey won't, because I want to say it because Casey loves this offense, and I like it too. Is Kyle Pitts, new quarterback?
I don't consider him a sleeper.
It's a trigger for Casey.
Casey, he's not Pitts.
I don't consider Jake Ferguson or Kyle Pitts sleepers because their names everybody knows. I think of sleepers as ones who, if it's a late round dart throw, it's somebody who.
How about Gunner? How about the kid Gunner? What's his
name? Gunner
name?
Helm is one. Absolutely.
I like Gunner Helm. I like him a lot.
I think of. I'll go with the Cleveland Brown. I mean, you're going to say David Njoku, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Harold Fannin Jr.
Ooh.
He led FBS last year with 117 catches and 1,500 yards.
I think they took him in the 3rd round.
At a Bowling Green, 10 touchdowns, 34 missed tackles. Like, this guy's an athlete. In college, he wasn't just used as a tight end. They split him out wide. They put him in the slot. Like, I could see Cleveland going with multiple tight end sets and this guy being fantasy relevant. I
like it
at points. I mean, he's a better pick for best ball, where you're not trying to predict which weeks he'll have big weeks, but that's certainly somebody at the tight ends I like. I mean, you could talk about Brenton Strange in Jacksonville.
You took my guy. That's who I was wondering about.
And Theo Johnson in for the New York Giants, who's like a freak of an athlete, by the way. If you look at his athletic profile, it's crazy. He ranks higher than most of the receivers. And
Casey, do you think if Strange played baseball, his walk-up song would be "The Doors"?
When you're strange.
Yeah.
Oh, it sure should be.
Walk-up song, Casey.
Strange Brew.
Strange Brew.
Yeah, they're great movie. I love that movie.
You hurt my clothes. Oh, remember when I would introduce the
yes. Yeah, I love that movie.
Well, I do think Brenton Strange is going to be a pretty solidly valuable tight end. I don't
trust Trevor Lawrence. He has to prove to me that he's a real fantasy quarterback.
I don't trust Trevor Lawrence, but actually, you know what's interesting? When you don't trust a quarterback, that doesn't necessarily mean not to trust their tight end, because like similar with like dump off passes to slot receivers and things like that. If he's not playing that well, he's going to be dumping the ball off a lot. So I like Brenton Strange has a lot of talent.
Wouldn't it be great if like Trevor Lawrence like shaved his head beginning of the season? Wouldn't that be great?
Oh my God. Can you imagine? All right. So you mentioned Jake Ferguson of the Cowboys. Do you prefer him to Turd Ferguson? I'm sorry. I had to ask that question.
Yeah.
I just had to get it in there. Ross, do you even know the reference, don't you?
Yeah, I know the reference.
Okay, good. Just making sure. You're a Norm Macdonald guy. We talked to him.
Yeah.
That's Turd Ferguson for you. All right. Don't pick him up at tight end. But I want to return to running backs and wide receivers, since that's really what makes these leagues tick. And again, to me, the emphasis right now is guys like Adam Thielen, because it's just like you can get them for basically free, very cheap right now, and they can fill in and add a lot of value. Who have we missed so far?
Well, I think one guy I really like is a rookie in Seattle. And
Gordon?
That is what?
Did I name it?
Yeah, Torrey Horton.
Yeah, I love that kid too.
Colorado State, back-to-back
him.
1,100-yard seasons before he hurt his knee in the final season. One of those games, he went 16 receptions on 18 targets for 133 yards against none other than Travis Hunter. Ran a 4.41 at the combine, even though he was only 80% healthy because of the knee injury. They lost DK Metcalf. They don't have a burner. Obviously, Smith and Jigba is going to be the number one, but right now it's Cooper Kupp or MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling at that number two. Neither of them are trust. And Torrey Horton has been like all of the buzz, in training camp. He's been dynamic. He's been effective. He's gotten great publicity about from the coaches in terms of his ceiling. This guy could have a prominent role pretty early. I know we say rookie wide receivers tend to start slow, but and he may do that, but who knows?
Well, listen, and this show is not just about who's going to start and who's going to fill in for those first 4 weeks. Sometimes you do need guys like that. If you're a team like mine with Addison and Rashee Rice on it, you're probably not going to go for Horton right now because you got enough projects to work on. But it's great for a lot of teams and when you have that guy taking a roster spot, and let's say you make a 2-for-1 deal later, a guy like Horton becomes even more valuable because you kept value that you plucked off the wire and you get it for the whole year. We got a couple comments coming in. Let's check in with the audience. Justin Braswell, good to see you here. Thoughts on my 12-man 2-flex PPR league? Was a keeper league, or I guess still is. Neighbors round 5. Caleb, Chase Brown, Chuba Hubbard, Neighbors, Amon-Ra. Ooh, I like that. Turd Ferguson. I'm just going to call him that. DK and Emeka.
It's actually a great list, except I'm not a Caleb Williams believer yet. So that's going to be the tough one for me in terms of, I don't think of him as a top 12 quarterback right now necessarily.
They got the coach from Detroit. He'll be good.
And that could be great. But it could also not. And
I think, Ross, you probably would agree that Caleb looks like the potential weak spot in this roster. I'm not saying it is a weak spot, but but
he's not going to get like Chase. He's not going to get all these great players and have a great quarterback. So he got Neighbors.
Right. You make a sacrifice where you make it. I'm just noting that's the soft spot.
This is a 12-man league. It's not 10. But I would probably on my bench, I'll probably get a quarterback that's available just in case if Caleb doesn't perform that well. I think you have a good point.
Yeah,
and Penix is a perfect fit for that.
Justin
if
Fields would fit there.
I like Justin Fields. Anywhere he goes and plays.
CJ Stroud isn't being drafted and is a late round draft pick at this point. He'd be a good
12 though. He might be available in 12. You're right.
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
Also keep in mind, it doesn't have to be just on the wire. It could be, somebody that you can trade for relatively cheap. Players' values are going to change week to week a lot, but right now they're where they're at.
Yeah, I like the Bears. I like the Bears offense. I think Caleb's going to have a good year. I see him having 25 to 30 touchdown passes. I see him having over 3,500 yards.
I don't see Caleb being a particular weak spot. It's just
if it was a saying of the roster, that's the only one that
tier 1. No, is he tier 2? If I'm drunk and
probably not.
No, drunk and desperate. But
no, my question is he in your top 12? Because it's a 12-man league.
Yeah,
and
if he's in your top 12, then you probably can't.
I would say he's on the cusp. Okay, right. I'm gonna say on the cusp.
He's probably right around.
I
11
have him ranked
12.
like somewhere between 11 or 10 and 14.
There you go, cusp.
Yeah.
That's cusp.
Yeah.
Something else that we didn't talk about, and this team always runs the ball, and they have a crowded backfield to start the season. And I like that kid Blue, my boy Blue in Dallas, the rookie from Texas. I think he's going to be the starting running back. I really do, or he'll learn that spot. That guy's fast. I saw him play in college. I know they have other guys there, but no one has the speed like this kid does. And I'm taking a chance on Blue on a lot of my bigger leagues that I have roster room on.
Well, I also think the Cowboys, to me, they're a team that I would take up multiple roster spots, just putting some running backs in there until you figure out which one emerges.
I mean, Miles Sanders is there. I have him.
Javonte Williams, I think, is the projected starter right now, but who knows?
Well, I really like him this year.
I'm not a fan.
I have never been a fan, but I like him now.
But speaking back to Justin's roster, if you could get Dak Prescott, because some people are not high on him, that would be a great quarterback.
Yeah, and I predicted one of my bold predictions is Dak's going to lead the league in passing yards this year.
So let's go back to that roster. Would you guys trade like Caleb and let's say DK Metcalf for Dak?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably prefer to do Amika and Caleb if I could, because Amika's a rookie. DK's
high on
the number
DK
one
this year,
but he's the number one for Aaron Rodgers, and we know what Aaron Rodgers can do with the number one wide receiver. So
yes,
if DK can catch 90% of the balls thrown his way, he's going to be in good shape.
Well, that's also assuming Aaron Rodgers stays on the field, but we'll see.
Well, they don't have anyone behind him.
Either way, I think you could try to deal one of those two wide receivers with Caleb and get Dak, and you're in even better shape as far as I'm concerned. Albert Merriquin says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Albert. Our old friend. Good to see you. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up in a second, but we got one more question coming in from Curtis Murray, or a comment. How do you think Eckler is going to fare this year now that B-Rob is gone? Okay, so earlier in the show, Casey was saying Eckler is the guy to own in Washington.
I think Eckler's the guy to own just because of his, especially in half-point or full-point PPR leagues.
I'm just curious, Casey. I'm not. How old is Austin Eckler?
Let me look.
Because I remember.
I thought he was. I thought he's 30.
Remember when Dan was in college? He was like the first.
He is 30. He turned 30 in May.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yes, you are correct, sir.
Haha. So I think I think he could wind up a top 25 or 30 running back on the season.
Well, here's the thing. I think like running backs who are 30, we know that magic number of 29 that everybody worries about. But like when you're in a position like Eckler is, he's not going to have to be a workhorse. He can be effective.
Yeah, I mean,
we're seeing
backfields prolong careers.
And they absolutely do. And we're also seeing some exceptions to the rule. I mean, obviously, Derrick Henry is the number one exception to the rule. He is just some unique kind of beast. But it does remind you, I mean, even what's his name on the Saints, Kamara. Like there are players.
What do you do there? I mean, where do you draft Kamara? What's your expectation?
I still draft him as
if you're getting value on Kamara, I would pounce on it everywhere.
You draft in Saint, I mean, and feel good about your fantasy.
That's the only one I'm drafting.
Kamara, I don't have a problem with him being on the Saints at all. He's going to get a lot of touches.
Olave, I'll get if the value's right. Like if I can get him as my third or fourth wide receiver,
but only if the value's right. I'd rather get Kamara.
Like I don't dislike any player. I just dislike their draft.
It's just
positions.
like, it's just hard to root for. It's just hard to like have any interest in Saints games because you have a fantasy player on the team. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, you're at a bar and somebody said, everybody's watching the games, and hey, you might turn the Saints game on. I have Kamara in fantasy. I want to see how he's doing. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment, and I don't want to be that guy that changes the channel to watch the Saints game because I care about Kamara getting yards. I'm not doing that, Casey. I refuse to.
We got one more question about the Redskins. I almost said, wow. Commander's backfield. Do you think he will see Eckler any goal line work, or will that go to Bill or Rodriguez?
I wish, as I said earlier, he's actually highly efficient in his goal line running.
I think Eckler is going to see some goal line work.
So I'm hoping he gets a couple, especially if there's they might have the number one play be a pass play and they audible into a run play. That only has to happen 3 or 4 times all year for him to get some goal line work. But I think the first part of the season is going to be Chris Rodriguez. And then whether we see Bill Merritt depends on whether or not Chris Rodriguez is being effective.
I think Eckler is the Thielen of running backs. And I think you should roster both. All right, guys, let's wrap up for today. But very excited about next week, the start of the season.
It starts Thursday, right? Is that the first game?
Thursday is the start. So it's a week from today.
Where's the game at? Is it in Brazil?
Is it Minnesota, Chicago. I don't know where it's at. Isn't it Minnesota?
Well, that's the first game, Casey? Minnesota, Chicago?
Let me see.
I thought it was Philadelphia.
Look it up.
No, I could be
We've
wrong.
been so busy drafting, we don't even know what the Thursday game is.
I thought they were in Brazil for some reason. I don't know.
It's Dallas. It's Dallas at Philadelphia.
And it's
in Philadelphia.
Oh, it's
in Brazil. It's
the
not,
Monday night
okay.
game.
Philadelphia is the home team, but in Brazil.
Right.
Is that what it is?
No. It's in Philadelphia. Friday night,
okay,
Kansas
that's
City.
fine.
Kansas City plays the Los Angeles Chargers in Brazil.
You said that correctly,
Friday
Casey.
night.
Very impressed how you didn't say San Diego. I was very impressed with
And
Nice
Minnesota,
work.
Chicago is actually the Monday night game. I knew it was a standalone game.
So the first game is Thursday, and it's in Philly, and it's Dallas. This is a conference game.
Wow.
Dallas and Philadelphia, and I think.
Well, and then the game in Brazil is conference. Kansas City Chargers.
Let's also remember this is not your typical Thursday game. They didn't play 4 days ago.
Right.
No, I see there's going to be a lot of scoring that game.
I agree. A lot of times on Thursday games, they're sloppy, not a lot of scoring.
Just going back.
But I know everybody's looking forward to the New York game at Washington on Sunday.
Everybody.
I know everybody's excited about the Bengals playing Cleveland on Sunday. I know
everybody in Cincinnati is. It's true.
All right, guys. Games are you going to this year, Dan? Any?
Probably 0.
But I would stack Cleveland.
You never know.
If there's ever a game I'm going to stack the Cleveland offense in DFS or something like that, it's against the
well, actually, I didn't mention Dylan Sampson. He's another guy that
I love Dylan Sampson.
Cedric Tillman is another late dart throw in Cleveland you can get. So
yep.
All right, guys.
Let's wrap up for today. Next week, we're still doing just our Thursday show because the season hasn't started. But during the season, Casey and Ross do a waiver wire show. It's the same time as this one, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's on Tuesdays. Thursdays, we do this strategy show together. We talk about anything and everything about fantasy football, and we love having you guys here. Please put your comments below. We look forward to hearing from you. All right, guys. Casey, Ross,